Okay, so there's a need to respond, to be related to. It's not a need to be alone. It's a need to be responding to, related to. And it's above the horizon in a functional way. If I'm involved somewhere, I need to have interaction, I need to have feedback, I need to have some encouragement. So for a kid in school, she would need to be having the nice things, but she'd need, if she got good feedback from the teacher who liked her style or ethics, that would work well. But if she had a teacher who didn't care, didn't want people to look good or anything, and thought, then she could get negative feedback, in which case it would be very difficult for her to feel secure and study. In anything, really. She needs that bit of appreciation to feel secure. And the needing the response, the setting, and above there needs to be a functional participation. So if she were married, she'd need to feel the primary thing is the need to share things, to share resources, to have things put together, and there's a need to feel we're part of a team working on or paying for these things or working in these ways. So that's the primary simple need, and it's fixed. It's determined. We got to have this. We got to have that. You know, who's paying for what? I need this, so I have to take care of this. I got to have this. I got to like this. So this is another factor, this eighth house factor. But so it's setting above the horizon. It's succeedant. And so it's stubborn, determined, and it's in a water house. So there's a very judgmental sense of how much have I got? How much have I appreciated? Okay, so we're seeing this in a functional sense. Well, when you imagine the moon is the home, you're seeing the moon as the home and as mother, the you might think how much the need to get response from mother and to do things with mom and that, whether that's a strong issue, how much appreciation came from mother or didn't, or resources, how much security came from mom or support or not. So if she had the support, that would be a good thing. That would work well. Okay. So when she reflects on things or remembers things or tries to feel secure about things, she's going to feel about where she was living, how secure she was, what style of things she had, when things were nice and when things weren't. Because this atheist is judgmental, she would feel very strongly when something wasn't right or when there was a period where she didn't have what she wanted. That would stand out distinctly for her. So how much what's too much satisfaction for a moon in Taurus? What's too much beauty? What's too much good taste? Moon in Taurus, it's hard to have one dessert. There's a tendency to like nice things and want them. The impulses, the instincts are tied up in that way. Now, her moon, it's got a nice aspect to Uranus and Pluto. Not much to say about that. There's only one difficult aspect to the moon. It's the Neptune that opposes the moon. So with the Neptune opposing the moon, something's not as it seems. There's stress from belief, from faith around her moon. So this is a point where there's confusion and guilt and sorrow and dependency tied up with mother, tied up with home, tied up with the past. So she could always feel, even though she thinks, like her pattern type is moving, her moon phase is moving, here I am, but it's ending, I gotta go somewhere new, it's going to somewhere new, this isn't enough, I can't stay here. Her Saturn is, this isn't enough, I gotta work at trying to be ready for going to the next place or where I'm moving on to. But when the moon's reflecting back, there's sorrows, there's guilt, there's confusions. So the moon being in her habits, there's confusing habits. There's dependency habits or codependency habits going on with this Neptune to the moon. This is a significant puzzle. So it would have been there with her mom, a confusion, a dependency, a sorrow, a guilt. So often I imagine, I look at the chart and think, well, this is when you're born. This is a chart between your parents when they were born. It's their transits. But the moon Neptune implies that the mom wasn't really supported. There was a lot of confusion around mom, or evasiveness or deception around mom, or dependency or expectation when she was born. And she has that expectation in her, but often it's not as it seems. So someone's there, not there. How should I be? How should I live? What support am I going to get from family? And she looks for the support. 8th house moon, I need some support. I need these things. It's obvious I need these things. There's some confusion with that Neptune in the 2nd house. I can't rely on that. It's not like family in the past is not reliable. So if the family and the past and the mother are not exactly reliable, she's going to instinctively be moving away from it. Here I am, I got to move away from this. I got to get things more reliable. I get things more secure. Okay, so that's the natural tendency of the moon in Taurus in the 8th house. That the Neptune's opposing it, there's always complications. So as soon as she moves away from one place, she has to move away from home. She's going to move someplace, but she wouldn't have the support she normally would expect. So, or exactly the money she would expect. So it'd be harder to get the style that she would want. And as soon as she doesn't have the style she wants, she's going to be feeling, I can't stay like this. I got to change this. I got to move away from this. I'm only here for now because I'm working hard to change this dependency so I can get the things I want in a better way. This almost becomes half of a signature. Her response. So as soon as she gets a response, she has the tendency, this isn't enough, and feel, I'm going to be moving away. This isn't going to stay. This isn't going to be stable. So for the moon and Taurus that wants things exactly stable, there's confusions and doubts about it. And it creates, the Neptune can create obsessions or fantasies, but it creates obsessions, guilts, and sorrows. So going back to the past, going back to mom, it's complicated, it's guilt-ridden, it's difficult. She's going to be getting close to her. She's going to have trouble living up to it because of where she's been. So this creates a certain basic worry or anxiety of not fitting in or not belonging. And that moon needs to belong, needs to be part of things, and it needs to have certain resources to be taking care of things. And need to be getting away from the past. Need to be moving on to get the security, but if you're running away from the past, you're still attached to the past and bringing it with you. That Neptune is a puzzle to the moon. It can create someone that's very psychic, but the moon to Neptune, but it's going to show in practical ways, sympathetic ways, but it's going to also mean you can pick up energy, but pick up the good energies and you pick up the bad energies too. So because her moon and her symphony, they can pick up all kinds of people. She could attract the wrong people very easily and say, how do I get I mean, it's easy to attract people. It's hard to get rid of them. So there's always complications. Who gets close and who doesn't? Who's sharing resources? She's not going to want to owe money, but she would worry about it if she did. These are factors. So it's not just the money. Her basic habits of the moon has some confusion or guilt with. She wasn't encouraged to be who she needed to be in growing up. And there was guilt and sorrows around that from the Neptune to the moon. So if she's not being encouraged, she's not going to get good habits. She's going to get evasive or difficult habits. This is going to show in basic diet. She has all these great tastes, these really nice tastes, what's beautiful, what's not. But you can't, I mean, that moon and Neptune can obsessively eat, or it can be obsessively aloof and not wanting to get fast. I'm detached from this. She's going to have these swings around what she eats, what she doesn't, how she lives, how she doesn't. These mood swings are going to go up and down on what's stable. So you have the most stable moon in Taurus in an 8th house, fixed, practical resources, basic needs. But there's this, even if she had everything she wanted, she would feel something's going to ring. What is this? What is going to happen? There's a confusion, there's a temptation or an old karma that makes her either feel smothered or ignored or guilt-ridden, and I have to get away from these guilts. I can't owe somebody for money. I can't rely on someone else, but that moon needs to rely on others and share with others. And yet there's confusions in the trade-off. And because the moon's above the horizon, it's not below. Her chart doesn't have a lot below the horizon, which is home, security, stability, performance. It's needing to be appreciated out there, to have nice things, to be able to participate, to be beautiful and have beautiful things, nice taste, nice clothes. So she gets all the nice clothes. Would the husband buy it, or would she have to get it? Would the husband appreciate it or not? There's a sense that there's trade-offs that happen around here that are not in a mutable sign. You see all kinds of trade-offs. If you're born 4 hours later with the Gemini moon, this would be a totally different chart. But it's fixed in the Taurus, wanting to be appreciated, wanting to be liked. And the minute anyone would pull away the slightest bit, she would be really confused, and it would really challenge her dependencies. So there's a need to feel secure, but there's a tendency to pull in dependencies with it. And so it would be easy for her to, if things weren't feeling secure, to have the extra drink, or to have the bucket of ice cream, or have something, the taste, to indulge the taste, to escape from the complications around. And then to feel guilty about it and have to really fight it through. So she has had a lot of issues around eating, a lot of eating issues in her life. Too much, too little. And you can see this confusion. It goes back to the dependencies and the guilts and the complications between moms. So she didn't come from a stable past, or maybe she's born as the girl and she wasn't the boy they were expecting. And what are we going to do? Like, just, you don't know exactly how it is. Her story would tell it. But you can see this puzzle around the home, around the past, around mother, set up. I have to have a place to live. I have to have some stability. I have to have some nice things in my place. Yeah, I have to eat well. These are all nice things there. But it's opposed by Neptune. There's a lot of confusion around it, a lot of doubts, a lot of guilt, a lot of dependencies and sorrows around this. So even when she gets something, like, people with this often end up needing to be dedicated to a cause where you're helping others get things. And then you're almost atoning for what you have for yourself. So the need for appreciation is so great, and yet the reality around her is not always the same. Where's the money coming? Where's appreciation? So there's trade-offs and confusions that get made around it. That's enough. We're walking into it. Can't know everything at this point, but you're looking through each of the categories. If you're going to, if Uranus or Neptune or heavy transit was hitting this, or progression, you'd see this as being affected, and you have to go into the moon to understand what's really being affected. Then you got to go through these categories, and you talk to the person, you ask questions about it, you find out how it's working, and you see the main complex. And then you can see, oh, that's being affected. Then you can see what would be healing and what would be not, what would be pro-reactive and moving forward, what would be falling back into the past. So when she goes to remember things, reflect on things, her instinct is to remember the confusing things, the disoriented things, the unstable times, the confusing times, the guilt times, and to blame herself rather than just remembering the good times and the style and the things she's built up. So that insecurity ties into the moon phase insecurity, lack of planets below the horizon. You just see it. There's a need to be socially conscious and appreciated. Usually, because Neptune's involved here, there's a need to be dedicated with that moon. Okay, so when she's trying to get appreciation for herself, not everybody's going to be consistent and always be there. Just when she needs it, somebody else may not be reliable. She could marry a partner who likes her, but that may not be well off and have enough to provide, and it could be an ongoing haunting thing. But this very same moon in the 8th house, if she had a cause, if she were a fundraiser for a cause or trying to raise money for starving people or people with nothing or things, she could do this so magnificently. And having the right cause would really stabilize that moon. You could make things, you get things to provide for other people or for others, and you'll be taking care of yourself. But the need to be helping and to be helpful is there.